When I saw this video, I thought to myself, there's an example of someone who's taking this challenge that we're all experiencing right now in the midst of this adversity, this pandemic, this world that we live in. She is taking that and using creativity in the face of it to create something. And that's one of the things I want to talk about today. Expressions of creativity in the face of challenge. Not letting challenge define who you are, but taking your very creative self and living life regardless of what is going on. She says, "This too shall pass. Let's have faith in the brighter day." Now, it would be very easy to just do a talk on "this too shall pass." But you know what? I'm not interested in what shall pass. I'm interested in what are you going to do during the passing? What are you going to do in it? Because we're going to be able to say "this too shall pass" a lot in our lifetimes. It's just how do we relate to it? How do we live through it? How do we behave because of it? So I want to take this in a little bit of a different direction because Wednesday, the inauguration of President Joe Biden, was an incredible day for this country. And party put aside, I loved when Mike Wallace on Fox News said that he felt that Joe Biden's inaugural address was the greatest inaugural address he had ever heard. And this is a conservative who is not on the same political side as Joe Biden. But it's hard not to look at Wednesday night, not to Wednesday day, not to the whole day and night, not to look at Joe Biden and listen to him. What I found in his inaugural speech was an authenticity that is sometimes lacking in politicians because they know how to be politicians. Speakers who know how to be orators, but don't necessarily touch their soul. And Joe Biden just felt like he was talking to me personally in talking about unity. And that's what he did. He called for unity. He looked right into the camera, or I guess he didn't, I don't know if the camera's in front of him, but he looked right at us and said, "If you don't agree with me, give me a chance. Just listen to me. Listen to what I have in mind. And then if you don't agree with it, that's okay. We get to disagree, but let's do it as a unified whole." I don't know about you, but my heart swelled on Wednesday watching the inauguration and talking about creativity in challenging times. That was one of the most glorious, gorgeous inaugurations I've ever seen. And they had to put it together in these challenging times and try to figure out how do we do this without an audience. Well, I don't know about you, but I was just as excited by all the flags and candles as I would be with people standing there because it was such a breathtaking view of our Capitol and what it looked like, especially as Eric said, in light of what we saw it looking like just 2 Wednesdays before. Talk about creativity amidst challenging times. So Wednesday was just this beautiful day all over. And now I want to ask you to look at it for yourself in your own individual life. Are you putting the flags up and the candles? Are you creating beauty in your world no matter what? Or are you sitting around saying, "God, when is this going to be over? God, I don't have the same opportunities I used to have. I can't do my job." All that stuff that we can complain about. What if we stopped complaining and actually did something different? Which is basically what we're being asked to do. Do something different. So Aesop said this. It's so funny. You're going to know this, Mindy, and I couldn't remember it. Who sang "United We Stand, Divided We Fall"? United we stand, divided. Well, whoever it was, it's actually Aesop who said, "United we stand, divided we fall," all the way back. And then someone made a great hit out of it later. Mother Teresa said, "I can do things you cannot do. You can do things I cannot do. Together, we can do great things." I think so often we waste our time saying, "Oh my God, that person's so good at that. Why can't I do it that good?" As opposed to just saying, "Eric is brilliant at this. I'm brilliant at this. Together, we are brilliant at doing what needs to be done." That's the world I want to live in. I want to live in a world where everybody feels that they have the right to be who they are and to speak their mind in love and respect and in unity. And I believe that this past Wednesday, we saw a glimpse of that. We saw a glimpse of a man who's been elected president at the exact right time for all people everywhere to say, let's come together and fix this brokenness. And yet, is it broken? You know, listening to everybody who spoke at the inauguration was so inspiring. And then when you go to that evening, the celebration, I actually didn't see it till after Wednesday because I thought, what are they going to do? Oh my God, goodness. Oh my God, goodness. It was just, I don't know how many of you got to watch the whole night, but I finally got to watch it on YouTube. I could not believe what people were accomplishing, what was being done. And it started with the boss, Bruce Springsteen, and he sang "In the Land of Hopes and Dreams." And so right from the very beginning of the evening celebration, we're being thrust into this inspiration of, come on, everybody, let's stop thinking our country is this, and let's actually raise our voices to hope and dreaming. You all know how I feel about hope. But basically, this country was at that such of a bottom level that hope was really the next possible step for them, for all of us. So yeah, hopes, dreams. It is time for all of us to start dreaming again. What can we be like? And stop looking back on what has happened. We can look back to the Civil War. We can look back to World War I, World War II. We can look back to Nazi Germany. We can look back to so many areas and times in our evolution that were just horrid. Or we can use our mind to look forward and to be in this moment of dreams and understanding. And I love that first of all, I love that Tom Hanks started the whole thing off, but he talked about the United States of America, as Joe Biden has many times, President Biden. And then he talked about the Constitution, and he said, a more perfect union, which is what's in the Constitution. That's what we're here to create, a more perfect union. Well, I thought of that in a much different way. Ralph Waldo Emerson said it best. He said this. He said, the reason why the world lacks unity and lies broken and in the heaps is because man is disunited with himself. So if we are looking for a more perfect union, I think it's important for us to start looking at the union of God and man. And that may sound dualistic, the idea of God and man, since I recognize it as one thing. But in your mind, in consciousness, the way you think about God and the way you think about yourself can very often seem extremely separate. It's like what Reverend Eric and I were talking about, the whole concept of your greatness. I'm great when I'm here, and I'm not when I'm over here. So this more perfect union is a perfect way for us to awaken our own minds, our own hearts, to understanding this perfect oneness of man as God, the divinity of man. I think the Constitution was written in a very intuitive way. And I believe this idea of a more perfect union works perfectly for all of us in this year of waking up to an understanding that I am not great when I'm great and not great when I'm not great. It's not about that. It's about understanding my greatness so that I live from my greatness even when I falter, even when I make mistakes, even when I don't show up the way I know I can show up. But there's something in me that knows who I am beyond what I may be exhibiting or experiencing. One of the first songs sung at the inauguration, at the party at night, was "Better Days Are Coming." And then, "Let the Sun Shine." How perfect was it that they brought the whole Broadway community together to sing, well, they first sang 525,600 minutes. So they sang Seasons of Love. And then they went into "Let the Sun Shine." And I went, see? We're on the ball here. We did it before the inauguration party. But it was so amazing. And it was so amazing to see so many of our friends in that video, and just seeing people that we've worked with. Beth Mellon, who I would say was on this stage, but the NoHo Art Center, who was part of our Open at the Top theater company, who starred in our show Pest Control. And just watching her, I felt so proud that she was singing for the president, that everybody was singing for the celebration of what we are about to accomplish and accomplishing. John Legend sang Feeling Good, which made me laugh because the day before I used that song on Spirit Breath. I was like, this is just perfect. I'm just right there. I am in the know. But I think the moment that really got me, and I had such a lump in my throat, even as I go to say this, was watching President Bush, President Clinton, and President Obama standing 6 feet apart, talking about what it means to be one country. I was overwhelmed listening to them speak and listening to them take each other's words and use them. And saying, I think it was Barack Obama who said, we can be fiercely in opposition with each other and yet still recognize the humanity within each of us. As I said earlier in the service today, I really felt that this week we did remember who we were as a country. And watching those 3 presidents remind us who we are was astounding. Just astounding. A more perfect union, that's exactly what they were talking about. And then, of course, the end, Katy Perry singing Fireworks. I defy you, if you haven't seen it yet, I defy you to go on YouTube, watch the firework display, and just try not to cry. I was just blubbering idiot watching these fireworks and President Biden and First Lady Dr. Jill Biden on the balcony watching it, and Kamala Harris and her husband in the lit up oval right in front of the Capitol. It was just breathtaking. Everybody sharing this fireworks, because Ernest Holmes talks about the fire in your belly. Well, there's a fire in the belly of America, and I can feel it. I woke up on Thursday morning feeling this new energy, this new fire, this new determination. Republican and Democrat, gay and straight, men and women, all over our country, feeling that energy of unity. Now, were there naysayers? Yes. There were people saying, yeah, he's talking unity, but we're not in unity. I get that, and I understand that. And yet, I have to love that too, because that is still a part of our country. But where do you want to land in this new day? When Donia sings her song, this too shall pass, this moment, I don't want this moment to pass. I want this moment to catch fire, like the fireworks at the end of this whole day. I want this moment of unity. I want this moment of this perfect union of God and man as one thing to really catch fire in the movement of spirituality, so that we stop living our weaknesses and only live our greatness even within our weaknesses. The title of my talk today is Pass It Up. Pass it up, meaning unlimited potential. And it was said best, of course, by Amanda Gorman, the poet laureate of Los Angeles at age 16 in 2014. I was blown away to know that she was in the same school Will and Nora were in, New Roads. She was a year ahead of them. And then she went to Harvard. Now she's 22, and she is our country's poet laureate, the youngest ever. And she said this: when day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We braved the belly of the beast, and we've learned that quiet isn't always peace. And the norms and notions of what just isn't always justice. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. It's hard. It's hard to read her words and not feel what she means. Quantum evolution will leave us always unfinished. You know that, right? You're never going to be finished. You will never be perfect except that you are perfect. You will never be finished except that you are perfectly finished now and will continue to change. That's the quantum understanding of who we are as divine human beings, as that perfect unity. We will always grow. Will we be broken? Sometimes. But in the face of broken, we need to know we are great. And I love when she says that it's not that we aren't not broken. She says a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. She then says this, let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true, that even as we grieved, we grew. That even as we hurt, we hoped. That even as we tired, we tried. That we'll forever be tied together, victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. That's the point of this whole week. What are you going to sow with your mind, with your heart? Where are you going to let your mind wander? Because you are either sowing the idea of separation or you are sowing the idea of oneness. Which will it be? The whole point of awakening is to awaken to our oneness, to realize who we are. But that means when I know who I am, I know who Mindy is. I know who Jim is. I know who Adam, Eric, Tiffany is. That's what we must awaken to. In the last few lines of her poem, the new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. In an inaugural poem, a young 22-year-old Los Angelian stood in front of the entire world and asked the world to have the bravery to be the light, to be, I will say, God, to be the kindness, be the joy, be the wisdom, be united together. If a 22-year-old girl from Los Angeles can figure this out and dare to speak that truth in front of the entire world, who are we not to share this message of oneness and unity? What are we going to pass on to our children? A world that knows who it is, or a world that is still struggling to identify itself in the ashes of the past? Pass up. The reason why I called my talk today Pass It Up is because up to me always stood for unlimited potential. An unlimited potential that is always there. That's what I want to pass. I want to pass that up, that unlimited potential, to everyone that I come in contact with. John F. Kennedy said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. I'd like to say, ask not when this pandemic will be over, but what can you do during this time of challenge? I think we are spending way too much energy wasting our mental acumen, asking, when is this going to be over? When is this going to be over? It is on its way to being over. Life always unfolds perfectly. I trust science that this is being handled. But what are you doing during that time? I get it. I get that our jobs have changed. My job has changed. I get that there's more to do, maybe more work to do. I get it, that people have lost jobs and lost money. People have lost lives. Loved ones of mine have left this plane of action due to this disease. I understand all of that. Please do not think that I am being light in my touch on this. But to those of us that still stand, it is time to stop waiting for the cure to be accomplished and start waiting and start acting from the cure, the mental cure. of living our lives fully, wholly, regardless of what is in front of us. If they can create an inauguration like that in the face of this, if Donia Oxford can go stand on Wilshire Boulevard in the midst of traffic and create a video like that out of this, so can you, and so can I, and so can we all. So I want to close with Donia's lyrics that I started with. This too shall pass. Let's have faith in the brighter day. Well, I don't know about you, but if you look outside, it's a brighter day. This is a brighter America. We are brighter people. Ernest Holmes said this, your thought is infinite. So are your possibilities, no matter what. So pass it up. Step into that unlimited potential. It's who you are. It's what you are. The world is evolving in the highest and the greatest manner possible, no matter what it looks like. So as Eric said earlier from Hafiz, get out there and have fun. Realize you're living in the most magnificent playground there is. You may need to wear a mask on the playground for a little bit, but put the mask on and go play. Be willing to understand who you are. Be willing to make a much better union between your greatest self and your greatest self. Namaste.